And so I was just tuning into what is it that I feel called right now to explore a bit more, because I have time. And in my work as a holistic nutrition coach, I talk a lot about holistic grazing. I really feel like I'm an ambassador for regenerative animal farming. And so I felt maybe it could be an opportunity to dive a bit deeper into these teachings, but really by immersing myself more on a practical level. And so I was checking out the Savory Institute in the US to see if they offered trainings, but that was really complicated, and I also didn't feel called to go to the US. But the Savory Institute also has hubs in Europe. One in Turkey, one in the UK, and one in Spain. Extremadura, Cáceres area. And when that popped up, it really rang a bell for me. Because when I was still working for Bayer, a long time ago, and I had been sent to Spain, 2005, first to study my MBA and then to do sales as part of the training, one of the areas I had been assigned besides Madrid, Toledo, was Extremadura. And so I already had been to Cáceres area. And it's not a really popular area of Spain. Even many Spaniards don't know about it, have never been to it. And so I felt like there's something there for me if it's popping up again now. And I felt like, I can just go for a month or so and see. And so I was looking around for opportunities on pages like Workaway, and Sierra de Gata was popping up repeatedly. And gata means female cat. And I have a female cat. So I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And I was narrowing down my search to that area. And just looking for houses, flats to rent. But at first there was nothing really talking to me. Just like flats in the villages, one house in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, what am I going to do there all by myself? I need some connection and ideally also some personal development possibilities. And the next day I looked again on the same pages and suddenly this place was online. I mean, obviously not the place, but the house on the domain. And I immediately fell in love. And doing a bit of research, I found out it's actually located on the domain of a personal development retreat center. There was just one little detail, and it was that it said no animals permitted. And of course I had my cat with me in France. I was not going to abandon her. But there was a cat in one of the pictures, and so I decided to contact them anyway. And at first they were a bit hesitant, saying, yeah, we have dogs and the dogs might run after the cat. And I said, I can just come and feel into it. And they agreed. And so I rented a car. I was planning to go from the south of France to visit for a day or two. And literally a few minutes after I rented the car, I received a message from them, like they were very sorry, but the guy who was currently living in that house I was interested in had decided to stay, and so they had to cancel the whole operation, and the house was no longer available. That came really like a big disappointment for me. But looking back, it gave me the opportunity to work on some deeply ingrained, deeply rooted belief patterns of I always get the carrot in front and then it's pulled away. I never deserve to receive my desires. The universe hates me. I'm not loved. I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah. And for 3 days or so, I had the opportunity to really get deep into my emotions, apply the practices I've learned over the years. And then I received another message that the situation had changed again, and the guy was now going to move to another house, and the house was going to be free again, but actually 1 month earlier than originally foreseen, because first the house had been for rent as of April, and now it was available already as of March, and we were already beginning of February by then. I'm like, sure. And the next day, well, not the next day, but a few days after, I traveled down there by bus. I already knew in my heart that it was a yes, but my rational mind needed to confirm by actually going there. And so I spent 2 nights on the land, and I said yes. Confirmed, went back by train to Brussels, spent 3 weeks selling, giving away, throwing away my belongings, and making boxes that I sent to the cook of the retreat center, who by now is my partner, but back then I didn't know. And 3 weeks later, I left again to the south of France, where I had left my cat, to pick her up. 13 moving boxes on the way by post, and me just with my suitcase and the backpack meant for my cat. And from there we went by train, by bus. It was a whole adventure. And the last part of the way we were taken by car by someone and arrived on the 6th of March 2020. And just a week later, the lockdown. And so April wouldn't have been possible for me. So the whole story, all the changes were part of that, what I call now divine grace, which made that I could actually spend the lockdown in paradise and not in a flat in Brussels, which I've been sharing with a person that I no longer felt a connection with.